Welcome back everybody to Extreme Offroad Silly Builds, and today we're dealing with the 2022 Porsche Mission R. This now has 1,147 horsepower, 1,266 pounds-feet of torque from its two electric motors. It now weighs in at 2,962 pounds, has off-road tyres, off-road suspension, a rally diff to go alongside its all-wheel drive system that it already had, and it can only 0 to 60 in 3.75 seconds, 0 to 100 in 5.25 seconds, and go to a top speed of 182 miles an hour, which it will undoubtedly be able to get to quite regularly, being an electric car. And mid-range clout is the definitely one of the advantages of a vehicle like this. So yeah, this is actually the first all-electric vehicle that we've had on this series so far, although we have had some hybrids with the likes of the Ferrari F80 and the Lamborghini Tamario. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this electric car can do. Now granted, it is more of a racing car than a road car, and therefore it's got a lot more in the way of downforce and such, so it's not going to be highly indicative of what other electric cars can do on this series, but nonetheless it should be a really rather quick one regardless. So yeah, let's see what it can do. So yeah, even though it's electric, it does make a fair bit of noise in fact, as you can see. Yeah, it's not completely silent, but yeah, it's still nonetheless, as you can see, able to get up to a really good rate of speed. Now one thing I don't do with these kind of racing cars is up the downforce that it generates. The downforce at the front and the rear is kept as stock as possible. That has not changed. It just doesn't feel fair on on more ordinary road cars that don't have such levels of downforce. So yeah, that's something that hasn't changed, but obviously the power output certainly has. And the reason I don't mention the kilowatt hour of batteries is because even though it was, I think, about 82 originally, no idea what that changes to when it comes to this game when you do increase the power. Unfortunately, it does not provide that information. I imagine it is quite a lot still. Yeah, that accelerator, that electric powertrain really does provide near instantaneous acceleration outside the corners. Though it does not have the quickest acceleration times off the line. 3.75 seconds is definitely one of the slower cars, in fact, off the line. But that's not what electric cars are about. They're about the mid-range clout. And this has plenty of it, as you can see. That's potentially a little bit too much, in fact, especially when coming down on that landing. We can't pull the car up. We're going to have to slow down before the lift off, it seems, as we were carrying far too much speed. I don't even know what we were doing, in fact. About 150 is apparently too much. So yeah, clearly it's soaring through the air. And yeah, unfortunately it does not quite have the handling that I was expecting it to. I guess the off-road tyres are playing a little bit of a havoc with the handling characteristics, along with the off-road suspension, which raises it by nearly 3 inches, so yeah, which is not an insignificant amount at the end of the day. This is a typical kind of car that just gets away from you just because of how much acceleration it has fairly quickly, and yeah, it's hard to keep a handle of it at times, especially when it's clearly not got the kind of grip that you would want for a car with this level of power. So unfortunately, it's nowhere near as quick as I was hoping it was going to be, given the huge amount of power and the fact that it weighs less than 3,000 pounds. But 2 minutes 25.913 is all this car's going to give us here today. So that is actually slower than the Exomotive Exo set from the previous episode, which was also a little bit of a handful. But as you can see, that is yeah, around 2 seconds quicker than we are. But yeah, it's by no means the slowest that we've had on this series. It beats the BMW X6M competition, Nissan Patrol, Toyota GR Corolla, and the likes of a Honda City E2. But it is slightly behind a GR GT prototype, which is about 0.7, 0.8 of a second quicker. While it's also slower than the hybrid vehicles that we've had on the series so far, like the Lamborghini Tamario and the Ferrari F80, which is still in second place. So yeah, not as impressive as I would have liked. For instance, the current leader is another racing car in the form of the Alfa Romeo SC048 SP. So yeah, which is more than 11 seconds quicker than this, which just shows how controlled that was. It was quick, yes, it had 1,000 horsepower and such, but it was controlled in terms of its speed. Whereas this, yeah, it just really was all over the place in terms of its acceleration at times. Just wasn't able to either put the power down or control the kind of acceleration and speed we were doing. So, yeah, which is a little bit of a shame, but you know, that's the way it goes. Not every car is going to be as good as you think it's going to be. And in fact, some cars have been quicker than I also expected them to be. So, yeah, expectations can be broken or otherwise. So, yeah, but nonetheless, these the Porsche mission are quick enough as far as other cars go in this series. Like I said, it's far and away from the bottom. It's more than 20 seconds quicker than the Honda Acti, for instance. But given the power and the all-electric powertrain, I was expecting more. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.